What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining me today on the meditation channel. Welcome. Hi, how's it going? Okay, so I decided to do this video because I just wanted to sit down with you and have a chat and hopefully connect with you guys and maybe share something that may resonate with you or hopefully help you through something that you may be struggling with at the moment. I really wanted to talk about the topic of how to be your best self at the worst possible situation that you're in. So this is something that I actually made a meditation about. So if you guys go a little bit back through my channel, YouTube channel, or if you're in the podcast, well, you can just go a few episodes back. And this is something that I really want to master because I feel like if you can master yourself in a stressful situation, if you can control, maybe control is not the best word, but maybe if you can find a level of peace in the chaos, that's when you really start to reclaim your power. So remember, this is something that I always teach my clients, and this is something that I'm very, very passionate about, which is power. Now, society has said that power is a bad thing. You know, when most people think about power, we think about dictatorship. No. Power, the terminology of power is to influence, affect, and get about what you want. Power in itself is a tool. Now, you can use it for bad and you can use it for good. This is why the saying, with power comes great responsibility. Okay, so be very careful at how you use your power. But in essence, having power is a wonderful thing. It means that you have the power to influence people around you, that you have the power to influence your own mind, not allowing others and this world to influence you, but you actually the one who chooses how to respond to a situation. And so when we often are in a stressful situation or in a chaotic situation, oftentimes this is where we get tested the most. And this is oftentimes when we realize where we are at and the things that we need to resolve, that we need to heal for those of you who are actually doing the spiritual work. And oftentimes it shows us our worst qualities. Now, let's just say, for instance, something that I've noticed with myself when I'm in a very stressful situation, I tend to get very frantic, I tend to get very ungrounded, and I often resort to anger. Anger is my go-to. Anger is my safety net. Anger is my comfort zone, if you like. And anger is not in itself a bad thing. Just like power, you know, anger is a very powerful tool that essentially allows you to create change. You know, have you ever been so mad that you're finally like, that's it, I'm not putting up with this anymore? So that's the power of anger. It's like this fire, right? It gives you that energy, that motivation to do something, to change something. But like any fire, right? A fire that is contained and that is, you know, it's a wonderful thing. It can keep you warm, it can cook some food, but a fire that is out of control can destroy everything in its path. And so in essence, having that anger is not a bad thing. That's okay. But I need to acknowledge the fact that I am angry. And what am I going to do about that anger? How am I going to manage that emotion in this chaotic moment? And so the key ingredient here is obviously, to me, awareness. So it requires us to first and foremost be able to recognize the fact that you are getting angry. And unfortunately, this one often happens when you've gotten angry and done mistakes so many times that sometimes, unfortunately, it takes something really bad that you have done for you to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that again. So the key ingredient when it comes to this, it's to really become self-aware enough to go, okay, I'm frantic, I'm crazy, a lot is happening and I'm feeling angry. You'd be surprised at the power of self-awareness, especially when you catch yourself in the moment of it, because once you catch yourself, now you have the power to choose differently. Up until that point, you are in the subconscious mind. And so you are unaware of your reaction to the situation. And this is why oftentimes once we explode, once we implode, or once we freak out, or whatever it is, after the fact, we actually are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. That was so out of character. I don't know why I reacted like that. And I wish I would have done something different. So obviously what I do is I teach meditation, and meditation is an extremely powerful tool to assist people in building self-awareness, in calming down the nervous system, slowing down your brain waves, and having a relationship, building a very deep and intimate relationship with your mind, but most importantly with your subconscious mind. Here's the thing, guys. Healing does not happen on a conscious level. Real healing happens on a subconscious level. So we want the aspects of us that we have essentially suppressed, disowned, and denied, or that live in the subconscious, to come to the surface so that we can be aware of the pattern, the triggers, whatever it is that it may be that is causing this consistency of behavior. And once we bring it to the surface, we can heal that, shift that, or make a different choice. I always say this: humans are like a car, okay? And the way that we function is a little bit messed up. So let's just say that your brakes are broken, and that's the issue, okay? Metaphorically. And what we do as humans is that we know that there's something wrong with us, the car, but instead of fixing the brakes, we change the tires. So we've made it run a little bit better, we've done something to it, but we haven't fixed the core issue. And that's usually where the subconscious healing happens. So I have made a meditation, like I said, about this. And what I love about this meditation, because in essence, it helps you practice how to react to these situations. Now, you know yourself better than anybody else, right? So you know your triggers. And if you don't, I highly recommend that you try to build some self-awareness if you want to shift these patterns, because that is really the only way that you're going to be able to fix the issue. If it's something that you really, really want to change in yourself, well, that is the way, really, in my opinion, the best way to do it. So when you are aware of a pattern, so let's just use me again as an example. So my pattern is to get angry. The best thing to do it is to rehearse the way that you would ultimately like to be in your mind. Now remember, the subconscious mind, guys, does not know the difference between the reality and the imagination, okay? So if I sit here and close my eyes and start visualizing, okay, I'm going through this scenario, everything's crazy, I'm getting anxious, I'm getting stressed, and now I'm feeling angry because nobody's listening to me, because whatever, my husband is not doing what I want him to do, and then allowing those emotions to come to the surface, and then giving yourself the opportunity to rehearse over and over again the things that you would like to say instead, the things that you would like to think instead, and the actions that you would like to take instead. Oftentimes, this is not going to be an overnight transformation, but what I have personally found is that once I have rehearsed something over and over and over again, when the opportunity shows up, which it will, something bad will happen, something stressful will come up. You have rehearsed it so many times in your head that you will have that aha moment. And when you have that aha moment, it's like, I know exactly what I need to do right now. Why? Because you have rehearsed it. Now, this is very important. If you do not rehearse the action, the thoughts, and the whole process in your mind, you may catch yourself, but what is likely going to happen is that you're going to fall back into the old default still, because you haven't built up the process, the skills, and the rehearsal to beat the old program. It's like they say, a neural pathway, right? A habit turns into a neural pathway, especially a subconscious habit. So if your subconscious habit is to get angry, that neural pathway, which is the wiring in your brain, solidifies. Now, you cannot undo that neural pathway. What you can do is override it with a new program, just like a computer. So the only way to override this program, I'm just looking at my hamster because he's trying to get out of the cage. When you want to override it, you need to rehearse it. You need to practice it. You need to take that breath. You need to be honest with yourself and say, hey, this is my pattern. So this could be with anything. This could be with, for those of you who are struggling with addiction, for those of you who are struggling with depression, anything at all. So how can you start becoming your best self in the worst type of situations? And it takes that rehearsal. Everything that we process in this reality, we essentially filter it through our mind. Our mind is just a giant filter. Now, if we don't clean out this filter or program this filter is going to essentially process everything that is, dirty and messed up. And so it's really important that we go in there and we clean out this filter, that we reprogram this computer, that we tune this machine that in a way that we want it to go, in a way that we want it to perform. And we forget, guys, that we have a lot more power over our mind than we think. We have been programmed to believe that we don't. We have been programmed to be lazy, to sit in our comfort, and to not try. And one of the most frustrating things that I find as a meditation instructor, as a meditation coach, is that people will sit there for 20 minutes and they'll do the meditation and they'll get the information, powerful wisdom, but then do they apply it in their lives? Are they willing to put in the work to really change their lives? And unfortunately, a lot of the time, people may do some work, but then they fall back into the old program because they are comfortable in that program. They know themselves as that version of themselves. And in order for them to really change and make that transformation, it gets uncomfortable. Your brain does not like change. We do not like change. And this is why I really like the saying, better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't know. Even in the most painful situations, this is why addicts continue to use. Because even though it is painful, they have developed coping skills in that pain. They know themselves in that environment. They know how to think, they know how to do things because why? They've rehearsed it. They've practiced it. And they've gotten really good at that. And there's a subconscious fear that if I do something different, oh, but that's terrifying. It could feel worse. It could be worse. I could lose. Whatever it is. I really hope that this is making sense, you guys, and I really hope that you understand that it really does take just that consistency of practice and rehearsal in your mind. And here's the most important thing. When we think about rehearsing, a lot of people sabotage this because they make it some epic practice, okay? It was like, oh, okay, so I gotta get up at like 5 a.m. and I gotta meditate for like 2 hours and I gotta then go to the gym for like 3 hours, then I gotta do sound bath and no, that's not realistic. Nobody can handle that and life and whatever else that comes at you. Essentially, you wanna just make it a consistent rehearsal, 5 to 10 minutes a day, where if this is something that you genuinely want to change in your life and genuinely want to shift, then you can take 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, whatever it is that suits best your routine. So be smart, be realistic, but be consistent. And I promise you that the more you rehearse this, the more you practice this, when the opportunity shows up, you are going to be unmovable. You are going to be powerful and you're going to be unstoppable because you will know exactly what you need to do in that moment, and that is where your power lies. It's in the moment where you have the choice to repeat the old pattern or to make a different choice. And I promise you guys, when you make that different choice, you are going to have the most powerful moment, because you're going to realize this whole time, I was in control. Crazy, but true. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the Meditation Channel. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this episode. And as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, to my podcast, to everything that is in the description below, and check out all the products, everything that I offer, all the courses. Also, I am on Insight Timer now. So for those of you who love Insight Timer, please find me on there and check it out. I do lives there 3 times a week. And yeah. All right, guys. So thank you so much. And as always, don't forget to have a magical day. Bye-bye.